I guess on my hair, she look alright. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Wow, so serious. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and in today's video, I'm bringing you a tutorial using juviasplace's newest palette. I know most of you have found my channel from juviasplace, and because you all absolutely loved my last tutorial with their coffee shop palette, I wasn't gonna let you down this time. So the day it launched, baby, I had to pick her up. And although I know she's not in my use it or lose it for the top 10 this month, honey, I still wanted to put her first and get her going and bring you all those other 10. So inside, we got 9 shadows, honey, and you all know I'm a sucker for a green. Anytime I see a green eyeshadow, it's like, oh, so you want some of my money and some of my time? No problem. But as with all tutorials, honey, unless you create an eyeshadow palette yourself, chances are she's not going to be perfect. And I think this one has its pros and cons as well. So if you want to know my honest opinion on this palette, you're going to have to wait to the end. But if you want to know how to achieve this gorgeous look, all you have to do is wait until after swatches. First off, let's get into this gorgeous packaging. You all know, out of all indie brands, I absolutely love the artwork on juviasplace packaging. And this one doesn't fail me either. This package is rather small because she is a 9-pan palette, and as you can see, she can fit in the palm of my hands. So this is going to be very travel friendly for those of you who are not fans of larger palettes. Once inside, we have 9 beautiful shades. This palette contains 4 mattes and 5 metallics. And although I am someone who prefers a palette that has more mattes, the one thing I gotta give it is that this palette is just as vivid and pigmented in person as it is online. You know, a lot of companies use filters and things, so you never know which shades you're going to really get. But I must admit, these shades look nice, deep, and pigmented. See, I'm not about to play with juviasplace. Somebody down there in customer service going to have to see me, because look at the color, look at the pigmentation, look at the shift on these. My swatches are always done one time over no primer, and baby, get into this curated color story. When you looking at it in pan, it's like, okay, she gorgeous. And you see I'm trying to rotate this arm so you all can see these colors in different lights, so you can see these are metallics, there are duochromes, and there are pigmented mattes in this palette. Baby, I am so excited. And although I went into this with one idea of what I was gonna wear, I ain't completely sure no more. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and get started with things. As with all tutorials, all tools and product used will be in the description bar below. So if you ever want to know what's on my face and I forget to mention it, just check out there. But baby, I know it's a little later in the day, but I'm going to get this done early and on time. But we are playing with the Fula palette by juviasplace, baby. Y'all know for a while I've been saying juviasplace need to bring back the 9-pan palettes. They need to bring back the 9-pans. Those were my favorites. I need to be more specific and say the original size 9-pans that we remember, because they brought us a 9-pan palette. But baby, she is a tiny little thing. So although I am truly appreciating the color story, I miss those big old fat old pans that was big enough to be used as blushes. But we already getting into this. We talking way too much. And I'm sitting back like, Torrence, do you want to try to use as many shades as possible, or do you just want to create a curated look? I'm not 100% sure. So what we gonna do? You know what? I really shouldn't be doing all of this, but we're gonna try it today simply because we're here. We're gonna take our largest, fluffiest blending brush, and this shade here is Zuba, and blend that throughout our entire crease. And because we don't know what the pigmentation is like, even though this is a neutral shade, so I'm really not worried, we're gonna still tap her off because we don't want to go in and cause any issues. But we're going to start off with this low in the crease. And I wanted to go in with this shade first just to keep the look rather, I'm going to say simple for me, because if we're going to be going into all these other shades, having a neutral transition, make sure things start off nice and soft. And she appears to blend really easily. She's coming out really neutral on my complexion. I'm not even sure if the camera's picking up on that. I'll check and see, but we will be going in with an entire another layer because baby, I got to see how she builds up. We're not even gonna tap our brush off because I can see this to my complexion. It's coming off really similar. She definitely has much more pink to her than my complexion. So hopefully when I show you what she looks like on the second one, you can see that showing through. But she is definitely going to be either a lid shade or a transition shade. I think if you're any deeper than me, she might not make a good transition shade though. But yeah, I can see her definitely right here in person, trying to see if she's showing up on camera. This is nothing on the bare eye. This is that shade Juvia with the transition, and she's definitely showing up. So I just want to buff and blend her out a little more right here at the bone. And we'll be right back after that. Baby, I'm not gonna lie, when you first try to blend her in, she barely show up. But now I'm looking at that transition like, ooh, she might be cuter than I thought. So what we're gonna do is deepen things up with this shade here, Marrakesh. We're gonna take that with a slightly smaller blending brush and deepen up the crease. Look at all this color. I did not mean to do that, but the pigment in this one is strong, so we're gonna tap her off because we don't want too much coming through. You know what, we're gonna tap that off some more because we can always do a second layer. Start this low in the crease and build her up, and something tell me she gonna be pigmented. Let's find out. Ooh, look at that. Before you can even buff out the lines, she is coming through. So baby, I know she coming off dark enough for a crease shade for me, but even if you have the most deepest of complexions, I think she'll at least show up. Worst case scenario is she'll make a dark transition shade, because baby, she not playing. And it's like, I'm not even sure I want to go in with a second layer, so we're just gonna buff out the edges of that. But she blends so fast, you don't even, ooh. Like, look at the pigment on her, sis. Just raise our brush just slightly. Yeah, that color's a dream. And this is the part where things get hard, because even though I know that purple more than likely would deepen things up without taking over in the crease, I'm really looking at that green because I know I want to pop this shade on the lid later on. So we're going to skip that. We're going to go ahead and come up to this shade Nomad, and we're going to put that on the outer V, and we're going to take it partly through the crease, not all the way. And this color is extremely pigmented, but we want to take this and use that to our advantage by piling it onto the outer V first. I'm going to bring it in further than what I necessarily wanted, so that way when I go in and do my outer V work, cut my crease later, I don't have to worry about this area being covered, because I'm going to drag it about halfway. Because this brush is covered in pigment. This is my Redford 14. She's my smallest brush that we're going to use for blending today. But we want to cover up about half that lid to make sure we get all of that pigment off. And you see how much that covered with this tiny little brush? That lets you know this shade Nomad is not for play. And we're going to push that all the way up into the crease, and then just soften up those edges and bring her in. Just want to soften it. We don't want to take her all the way to the front. That's just enough to break this color up here. I want a soft edge for that green, but I don't want to cover that orange. And this is acting much more like a pigment than an eyeshadow. Let me check, what is that? Nomad shade 5. Oh, it says Nomad is an eyeshadow, honey. Okay. So we're gonna go back in with a little bit more because I lost pigmentation. I want you all to see that there. You can see it right up there where I started buffing her out. She's not quite as dark as that lower half. We're gonna pick this brush back up, pack her back on now that we have a blended edge. I need that to be really dark in this area. Yeah, see, like that, baby. I don't need no patchiness, no skipping, no nothing. Just want to make sure. All right, well, we can do this on the other side. Now it's time to cut our lids, honey. We still trying to get every ounce of dang on glue out of this NYX glitter primer, baby. She ain't done yet, but I promise y'all, the month of December, we gonna get rid of her. And considering the fact I know I'm gonna get at least 11 of these tutorials out, we're gonna be trying to work her down. But I got my Morphe brush, and basically we're just gonna cut our crease. And although we do have some of that green covering the lid here, I am going to cover a part of that. I just wanted to make sure it was an easier blend when I went in. We're gonna take this back about 3/4 of the way. And by rubbing this back and forth over that eyeshadow area and then going back over here over my glitter primer, it's starting to mix slightly and create a slight green hue, which is really gonna help our eyeshadows pop and appear a little more green later on. Not sure if you all can see that green hue popping through, but even like right here on the tip of my brush, it's no longer that basic clear white color. Some of that green has mixed in, but I really don't mind. For lid shades, I know I want to wear at least 2. Because we have this orange in the front, I want to go to this top shade here, Aziza. We're gonna put that on the inner half. And because we have this green going on the outer corner, we're gonna go into this shade here, Zora, and we're gonna put this on the outer half. And baby, this shade Aziza, she looks really pretty, but she's coming off a little flaky. So we're gonna be careful when we go in. We wanna take this and put her on the inner half, and we wanna make sure we leave space on that outer half. Oh yeah, honey, she real chunky and flaky. I'm hoping she's extremely shiny, because otherwise there is no reason to be like this. And you can see she's really shiny. I'm hoping she can build a little better. Let me see. I am getting some fallout, but not nearly as much as I thought I would, because literally just looking at this shade on the skin, she seems to have like some silver reflex to her. And she honestly looks like she may accentuate texture if you have any. But that shade is booming and shining. She is, I mean, I'm seeing like maybe some silver, some pink, and some purple sparks to her. But baby, she is really, really shiny. Okay, I'm trying to pick this green duochrome up with my brush. She don't look like she want to play fair. So what we gonna do is try her with this brush, and if she don't work right, we'll grab the silicone applicator. And we want to try to get this in that space in between. I'm gonna pack her down. Okay, she's showing up. So it just take a little work to get her on the brush. But I can see her there. I want to get this in between my matte shade and that first pink shade, and I'm definitely going to have to go in with a second layer. That first amount on that brush wasn't going to get it. And what I'm basically just trying to do is blend these two together. You can diffuse it up toward the front or toward the back. You just want to make sure that this shade is not left out of the equation. And although she might be the most difficult shimmer so far to work with, She definitely looks like the prettiest, baby. Look at that flip there on that green. Ooh wee, sis. She is pretty. Alright you guys, this is all we're going to do for the top half of the lids. I'm going to cut away, finish off the face, and when I come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off the lower lash line. Alright you guys, we are back, and I must admit, although I was off camera playing with a whole bunch of stuff, I had to hold things back because I had to remind myself. Torrence, this is a full coverage foundation. I know you love it, but I was putting on a lot because baby, it's been a minute since I've been able to wear it. As with all tutorials, all tools and products will always be in the description bar below. But I did want to tell you about some of the things that I've used today that I normally don't use on an everyday basis. Starting off with foundation, I have a tutorial for this one. You can check that out up here. This is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. Have this in medium dark 2 Tahoe. I love this foundation. The thing is, with my skincare routine, anytime I'm having some dry patches or anything, I usually try to avoid her because she is full coverage and matte. It's just no other way to put it. Like, it's not no, oh, am I gonna be able to do? If you don't like those words, full coverage and matte, she just not the girl for you. But I love her, and I'm gonna make sure I keep using her because baby, that bottle was about halfway done and I didn't think I would be able to finish her this fast. But I'm like, Torrence, by next summer, you may need a new bottle of that. For concealer, still using the juviasplace concealer. I didn't even have to mention this. This is in the shade 18. I figured since we're doing the juviasplace tutorial, I might as well pull her back out. You know, I usually bounce between my NARS and my Too Faced concealer, but tried her out about 2 weeks ago for the first time and been in love ever since. For lips, always my favorite juviasplace liner is the Cola liner. You all know I'm trying to pan this. It's not much left, but baby, I know I could easily take this another week. So I'm still trying to use her up, but I just took that, put her all over the lips. Also, I didn't fill in my center of my lips, but I did use a brush to buff her out. And to top her off, I know this is discontinued. This was with the juviasplace and Fumi collection, that Disco Party collection. I'll leave that linked above as well. This is the gloss in the shade Disco Fever. She's clear with silver reflex, and I think this may be the only clear gloss I have from juviasplace. With most brands, I usually avoid the clear because if I'm gonna go for straight clear, I have MAC for that. So this had silver reflex, so I'm like, she a little bit different, and she a Fumi collab, so I'm glad I got her. And what shocked me is she still smells amazing because I know this gloss, when did that? I'm thinking that collab is a year, if not 2 years old, but she still smells like vanilla, still applies beautifully. Absolutely love her. So we have that going. On the lower lash line, I decided to test out the new to me, the Sephora retractable eyeliner. This is waterproof in the shade 06 Olive. I wanted to put on a green eyeliner just because I have a ton of them right here that I needed to test out. And I'm like, Torrence, do not grab that Urban Decay one, try something new. Although I generally prefer eyeliners that need to be sharpened instead of twisted up, I bought this knowing it was a twist up. The formula's nice. I, haven't cried or teared up or anything to see about the waterproof claims, but for it to be a green, she did have to be built up a little more than I like, but she is waterproof, so they claim. So as long as she holds up to the waterproof claims, I think she's worth it. If she smudges in the slightest bit, I'm probably going to give her to someone else. For blush, she's technically not a blush. I also have a tutorial up for this, so I can leave that up as well. This is the Zulu palette from juviasplace. I even gave one of these out in a giveaway before. And when I say I want the 9 pans back from juviasplace, I mean like this. The big ones where I could take my blush brush, go into shade number 8 like I did today, and put this pink on just because I can. That's why. I love this palette, would never want to be without her. Big enough for a blush, so why not? And for highlighter, just because I knew I had never tried it, this palette I absolutely love. This is Lightworks Volume 1. I've used all 4, even though I only have tutorials up for 3 and 4 because 1 and 2 are highlighter palettes. If you are, I say, fair light medium to tan skin, she's gorgeous. She's absolutely stunning. But the shade I used today, no problem. I'm like, Torrence, why have you never used that shade? Because she's a highlighter and she's darker than my complexion. Even with this foundation, contour and all that on, you can look at this and be like, Torrence, how much lift is that color going to get when you need a color that's lighter than you to highlight? But what I wasn't going to do is say I paid for this thing, know what 5 shades look like, and never tried the 6. So I'm like, just try her. Worst case scenario is you don't like her. And although she's not technically a highlighter for me, when I turn my head, you can see that glow that I have going on the skin. So it's not that it doesn't provide a shine, it's just not a highlighter for me. But I'm like, this is the perfect, like, I'm not wearing highlighter. What are you talking about, sis? That's the look of this foundation. And I like her, but more than likely, if I ever wear her again, I'm either gonna mix her. She got a shade in there I can mix her with. Or I think this will make a gorgeous eyeshadow. I know this will make a gorgeous eyeshadow on the lids. But I just wanted to be able to say I tested her out and now we can. And I'm looking around like, baby, what else we got left to do? Lower lash line. And it's not much that I want to do because it's like, Torrence, with this much going on the top, how much more can you do on the bottom? Not much. So we're just going to pull her back out. And just to keep things simple, we're going to repeat on the bottom what we did on the top. I'm going to take a very large pencil brush, and this shade here is Juvia, and we're going to buff that out as a transition shade. Then I'm going to take a smaller pencil brush, and this shade here, Marrakesh, and we're going to use that to deepen things up. I'm going to wait till after that to see if I want to go back in with this shade here, Nomad, but I'm really thinking that my eyes may already have enough definition, and we might not need that shade. If your complexion is deeper than mine, you might want to skip this first step, but baby, I don't want to take things too far. So we're going to take this shade Juvia on the outer end, and we're just going to connect those. And I just want this to go down as a base shade, so when I go in with my next color, she don't take over that whole under eye. And because this color is so close to my complexion, we're going to do 2 layers just to be safe. But I already know she showed out on the top, so I know she's going to come out on the bottom. And I want to look up just to see if you all can tell the difference with just the transition here. Don't think it's going to show off, so what we're going to do is go ahead and jump to that next color. Now I understand my Redford 3 is a small brush, but we're not risking that. This shade Marrakesh is pigmented, so we're going to start on the outer end and go slowly, sis. I want to buff this up and make sure you see this coming in, baby. Ooh. This shade did not come to play, and I am not dipping my brush again for this side. Ain't no point in even trying it. Gonna connect it to the top. I can see that on camera and in person, baby. You know I'm not about to risk dipping that twice. No, ma'am. Okay, you guys, I was about to call this quits, but I'm like, Torrence, take it one step further. So we're going to take our smallest push liner brush, and we're going to go back into that shade Nomad, and we're just going to use that on the lower lash line on the outer half. And just because she a green, we're going to tap her off the tiniest bit, start on the outer half, and we want to press and go slowly, sis. I do not want this color to take over. Oh, baby, you got to be extra slow and extra careful with that. No blending required. As soon as you put her down, she's going to blend out like, ooh-wee, look at that. I know y'all can see that. Baby. Last step for the eyes is always my favorite. Highlighting my inner corners and my brows. And for that, we're going to go into this shade here, Fez. I know I'm not the biggest fan of yellow golds, but she's really bright, and I think she'll really shine on this look. And see, honey, that's what I'm talking about. I can already tell this shade is going to be pigmented because she picked up beautifully on the brush. So let me make sure y'all is in view. because we're about to put this right here on the inner corner first, where I want the most shine, and then we'll diffuse everything else underneath the brows. Babe, I know y'all see that. Like, look at her without even going in twice. And just to see if she build up, we're going to try it. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to connect that slightly on the top, but I don't want to take it on top of my lid shade. Booming and banging, honey. And whatever product we have left on my brush, I'm going to just put that right at the arch of the brow. I want most of that product at the highest point and diffuse it out. And baby, those yellow reflex are showing themselves. If you are not a fan of yellow sparkles, you might not want to do this part, because baby, there's no way to deny that that's the yellow right there. Alright you guys, this is all we're going to do for the face today, but there's no point in putting in all this work unless we're going to lock it in. So grab your sprays, because you know I'm about to grab mine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy do. All nighter, so things will last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. I'm going to give this a few more moments to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And here's the final look. I want to go ahead, give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you all, I actually like this palette. The thing is, I'm sitting here going back and forth like, okay, Torrence, pros and cons, pros and cons. Take a final look at this, give them your honest opinion. First off, do I recommend this palette? I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm 50-50 on her. The thing is, pros. First off, packaging is gorgeous. Inside, 9 shades, $10. Price is gorgeous. To me, the variety is gorgeous. We have 4 different mattes. You have this orange tone, this green tone, and this purple. And to me, this transition shade looks like she'll honestly fit any of the 3. You see, today the main shade that I used her with was this one. And so it's like, okay, although she may not be perfect for that green, I think for this orange and that purple, she's top notch. Where I go, okay, the cons for me personally is the shimmers are stunning once you get them on the eye, but it seems like you have to work a little bit to get them on the eye because they're back and forth. This shade here, although I'm not the biggest fan of yellow golds, picked up, applied, and blended the easiest of them all. The shade I was most excited for, this green duochrome, she was difficult, sis. You had to go in multiple times with your brush to get full opacity to me, and even though I've only used her today as my first time using her, you can see how many dips is in this palette from just using her today. So, in my opinion, the shimmers are 50-50 because when you get back up here to this top one, she was right there in the middle. She wasn't extremely difficult or anything like that. She applied easily, but when you picked her up, she was rather chunky and flaky, and it really told me, you know, once I picked her up, go in slowly because you want to reduce your chances of fallout. So with the shimmers, it's like, okay, that's how you feel. With the mattes, I'm somebody who truly loves pigmentation because I have hooded lids. The thing is, although they consider this palette an eyeshadow and pigment palette because according to this palette, there are only 3 pigments. It is the shades Aziza, this shade here, which one is this? Saskatchewan, and this shade here, Taza, is that, yeah, Taza. So Shades 2, shades 6, and shades 9 are considered pigments. The others are considered eyeshadows. But if you were to tell me that all of these mattes were pigments, I would truly believe you because they come out swinging. They are dark, they are bold, and if you are not extremely careful with these mattes, you can risk messing up your whole look. You have to have skill and you have to be comfortable with those skills to make these mattes work. So for me personally, I'm happy I have her because I collect juviasplace. I created a beautiful look with no issues for me. But if you're the type of girl who likes a buildable matte, not a pigmented matte, she might not be the one for you. And if you're the type of person who likes things to just be easy, you just want to be able to pick up your shimmer and go, you're gonna have to put in a little work for her. So if you're a juviasplace collector, grab her. If you love playing with eyeshadows, grab her. If you love pigments, grab her. But if you want something beginner friendly, something neutral and perfect for every day, she might not be the girl for you. But at $10, I had to have her, I had to bring her to you. And I think she's gorgeous. It's just, I know in the future, anytime I use this palette, she's gonna be a companion palette. And truth be told, even though I know the shimmers in here were difficult to work with, I really wish this was an all shimmer palette because the colors are beautiful once on the eye. You just gotta put in some work for it. And considering the fact juviasplace has given us all matte palettes before, it's like, sis, why can't we just get one all shimmer palette? Just half metallics, half duochromes, because although she's difficult to work with, like I said, the mattes, you're gonna have to go slow because they're pigmented, and with the shimmers, you're gonna have to have patience because you have to build them up. She cute, and next time I try her out, more than likely I'll just have to try out the more purple shades, but we got her. We're gonna go ahead and try to end this video here because I'm looking back and forth like, Torrence, she's stunning, but I know with me recording this video on Saturday the 3rd and trying to get this up on the 4th, I got to cut this camera off and get to editing because I still have a live tutorial tonight going up. That will be my, what is that video going to be? My use it or lose it, where I'm going to explain to you all that I am doing this. So baby, what time is it right? I don't even have a phone on me. It's only 4:30 right now. So I got about 2.5 hours to go in, get some time to get some editing done. And then I'll meet you all with the live. And then after that, we're going to try to get this done. But I want you all to please remind me in the comment section if I was able to get this done and up on Sunday. Because if not, I guarantee you all I will get it up on Monday. Please stay tuned because I am still trying to get a tutorial up for all of my juviasplace palettes. I know that's how most of you all found me. So we got the newest ones up, baby. We're trying to work our way back and get to the other ones. But we're going to keep on talking. Y'all know I'm a blabbermouth. So I hope you all truly did enjoy this tutorial. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also leave me a comment down below if you all picked up this palette. I know so far I have not seen any tutorials online of it, but I will check to see if I see some now that I've done mine. I'm not worried about my opinion being tainted, but we're gonna close our mouth in this here. So with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye YouTube.